Before I started using a sauna, my resting heart rate was in the high 80s. I was at borderline hypertension. And once I started using a sauna on a regular basis, my resting heart rate dropped down to the low 50s. My blood pressure is absolutely perfect now.
They want you just to tell them, I need to do this workout to do it. I need to eat this food, this meal plan. And really, it's more like you need to rest and you need to sit still. And people don't really love that.
It's a great time to sit still in a sauna.
It is. That is exactly the case. You know it.
Also, the longevity of having muscle. I've seen new studies come out that says one of the number one indicators of living long is how much muscle you have.
You don't even grow.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's probably
It's all.
both things. It is he's to blame.
Welcome to the Sweat Fanatic Podcast, where we talk all things sweating and really anything that's healthy and makes us feel better. Today, we're going to be talking with Ashley Ann, who is a strength coach and a personal trainer at Strength Sanctuary in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She focuses on strength building, health coach. She also teaches classes such as Learn to Lift, a beginner's guide to strength training. So without further ado, welcome, Ashley. Thank you for coming on the Sweat Fanatic Podcast.
Hello, and thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
So you're a personal trainer. You work out and train people at Strength Sanctuary. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that about 8 years now.
Okay. Awesome. And how did you get into that?
So it really started when I first had my daughter. She's 14 now, so about 14 years ago. Before I had her, I was really into endurance sports, running, biking, triathlons, all of that. And then I just realized I didn't have the time to commit to that type of training without sacrificing time with her. So I found YouTube videos about how to manage my body weight, which then led me to feel more comfortable going to the gym and exploring the different options and equipment. And then it just kind of grew into this love of strength training and finding my resilience and my power in the gym, and then how it could transfer later on into my life.
Awesome. So you did like triathlons and
I did.
distance running?
I did a half Ironman once.
Wow.
I had like a quarter life crisis, and I was like, I've never done anything. So that's what I decided to do that year. And I enjoy it. It's a really great time, but just the dedication of the amount of hours you have to put sometimes was just too much for me to handle. So strength training was that perfect segue of getting that athletic training and performance base in there without spending hours on the road.
Yeah. I got a couple friends that do Ironmans, and they've done Hawaii and they've done a bunch of other ones. And I've always wanted to get into it and do it with them, but it is a big time commitment.
So much respect for them, though. That is a commitment for sure.
I'm not the best swimmer. I think I'd drown though.
That is the worst part. I have to admit, that is the part that I'm always like, I get really overwhelmed. And like the last time I did one, I really struggled with that part just because it is a lot more mental, I would imagine, because that is a big fear, I think, for a lot of us.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw both of my friends that do it. They got in bike accidents where one busted his face up, the other one broke his collarbone. And I'm like,
Maybe I'll hold off.
Yeah. Yep. So I'll stick to sauna use and stuff.
Yeah, that one seems good. It's pretty safe.
So one of the big things you talk about is burnout and with exercising and all that type of stuff. So why do you think so many people feel burned out even when they're doing the right things?
I think society, unfortunately, and maybe the fitness industry, they monetize off people being stuck on the wheel, right? So the more sometimes I feel like our health and fitness journey becomes like a mini side hustle. And so people just add more and more and more. And really the goal is just to do less, but do it better. And that's where the burnout happens, is because we think we just need to add more sauna, add more cold plunge, do more cardio, there's all this mixed messaging. And I think it keeps us spinning our wheels, and eventually you just get exhausted by the whole process.
Yeah, it seems like every week or every month, there's some new thing out there that we have to do. We have to incorporate it into our routine. And if we're not operating at the highest level. And it's a lot. So I've learned to stick. My kind of things is I stick with strength training. I'll do a little bit of cardio, sauna use, cold plunge, and then just doing the right things as far as nutrition and stuff like that, and stretching and yoga. So I don't have more time to do so many different things, but I just stick with the things that work and then good quality sleep as well.
You named it. I mean, those are all the things that I'm working on right now. I'm working on my sleep score. That's the number that's important to me.
Yep.
But it is those boring bricks that really lay such a really strong foundation for our health.
Mm-hmm. So with burnout, do you think we treat burnout as a personal weakness?
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I've ever thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But I do think we use busy as a badge of honor sometimes. So to have to slow down or to pull back, I would imagine, feels probably like a weakness or something that we're not doing right.
Yeah. So do you ever, with your clients, do you recognize signs of them being burned out at all? Do they tell you that they're burned out? And if so, what would you tell them?
So the unfortunate part is that I think most people are pretty burned out, right? If you're in your 30s to 40s and you're raising young children or you're trying to get your feet under you, we are all facing so many challenges, I think, in our lives and with the distraction of phones and all of the things coming at us, I don't know how we're not really all burned out unless we're intentionally really taking the time and the focus to do less.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that is like where I get a lot of resistance from people when you can tell that they want you just to tell them, I need to do this workout to do it. I need to eat this food, this meal plan. And really, it's more like you need to rest and you need to sit still. And people don't really love that.
It's a great time to sit still in a sauna.
It is. That is exactly the case. You know it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things you talk about as well is women using fitness as a privilege or punish themselves. So can you expand on that?
I think that what I've noticed is that the fitness industry uses a lot of women's fears and insecurities against them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the things that are marketed towards women generally have us thinking that we need to do more, we need to do this thing. And it really can be more of like a shame or fear-based reaction that they're triggering. And that's where I think that kind of comes from. And so would we show up from a place of more self-love and care for our bodies? I think the choices we make are different.
Okay. So what would you say, can you give an example of what somebody would view it as a privilege and then how they would punish themselves with it?
I think it's sometimes even just the saying like I get to work out versus I have to work out.
Okay.
That if I don't do this, then I can't eat this later. It comes in the form of restriction, or if you're going to skip a workout and then you end up just beating yourself up all day and shame and guilt. Whereas sometimes when you can show up understanding that like this is what's best for my mental health, this is how I'm going to show up better for my family later. I think when you come or operate from those places, it really changes the game and how you approach fitness and your lifestyle for sure.
Yeah. So the other thing I've heard you say and on your social media is people can use fitness to help someone shrink or to expand. So what's the difference?
I think shrinking keeps you busy, keeps you distracted. And that's the wheel that I talk about where you're just chasing after something that is kind of unattainable, maybe is not maintainable for your lifestyle. Whereas when something is really whole health and really good for you, it opens up room for more. And so if you're constantly striving to be smaller, right, you don't have the headspace to put it where you could be more impactful in other areas of life. So that's for me, fitness has, when I'm doing it right, helps me show up better in the world and bring like my best qualities to the table.
Yep.
But if I'm chasing something of the opposite, right, it doesn't do that. It just keeps you busy and defeated.
Yeah, because the first thing I thought of is, I was just thinking as our physical bodies, we use it to lose weight or we lose it to gain muscle. And then you kind of expand on that and you can use it as what's inside of us as well.
Totally. Yeah, it's all of that, right? You can expand in every sense of the way.
Yeah. So let's get into routines. So how important is a routine? Do you stick with the same routine all the time? Do you like to change things up? If I don't have a routine, where would I start?
I don't love routine.
Mhm.
I do find that I do need that. I am definitely someone who struggles with a little bit more ADHD. So doing the same thing consistently can feel boring, but it also takes out a little resistance so that the behavior can be a little bit easier to achieve. So I find that the best results I've ever been able to achieve myself are the ones where they're the consistent, same type of routine or schedule. I can mix or match certain things along the way to switch it up.
Mhm.
But I think the true results are kind of in the boring, consistent work.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really encourage people to do. And it's not often the most sexy message that people
Mhm.
want to hear, but just learning the basic movements of strength training, those basic movement patterns, and then just showing up 2 to 3 times a week as best as you can with the time that you have is where I would encourage someone to start.
Yeah. So, uh, my wife, she used to work out at Quads in Chicago, which was a big bodybuilding gym,
Huh?
and so we'll
Sounds
watch.
like it.
Yeah, well, for sure, we'll watch Mr. Olympia, Arnold, and stuff like. And she knows some of the people that are up there on the
Okay.
stage and stuff like that. And she, so when I come to my strength training, I'm not the best planner. I'm not the best person that writes things down and stuff like that, where she is. Like, she literally goes to the gym and she writes down, okay, I'm going to do these exercises beforehand. She writes them down. These are the weights that I've done. This is the reps I'm going to do. And then she, compares it from week to week. She, she's been trying to get me to do that for years. And it's so hard for me to do that. And I don't know why. I don't like to plan too many things. I kind of like to just, I'll go into, now I do have a plan in my head, even though I don't have it written down. And I know the certain exercises, the muscle groups that I want to attack. And I know generally where I am at strength wise to know if I'm improving or digressing. So am I doing it wrong? Do I need to listen to her? What do you think?
I think you have to listen to yourself, right? That is the part that I encourage people to do.
Mhm.
Our brains all operate so differently. So you need to find the blueprint that you can repeat.
Mm.
So that is usually where I try to dig in and create some strategies with my clients. What is repeatable versus like what is someone else doing can be a little bit distracting. So I think if it works for you,
Yeah.
then you stick with it.
Is there any techniques or tricks that you do that it will keep people excited about the routine, not get so bored of it? I mean, boring is like consistency, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But is there anything I can do to like get me excited if I'm doing the same routine for a little bit?
I think it is focusing on performance-based numbers.
Mhm.
That is where it's fun for me. Whether that be, can I lift those weights faster? Can I lift heavier weight? Can I increase my range of motion? I think focusing on the little details and refining things over time and making what you're good at really good at it.
Mhm.
That to me is kind of the fun because it'll never end. There is always something that you will notice of like, oh, I need more range of motion there, or this feels a little sticky, or now that I can do this, maybe I could do that. So I think it's just having those performance-based goals to drive you along the way.
Yeah. So two things that are involved in routines and lifting and working out, and you've talked about them before, but it's intensity and then there's consistency.
Yeah.
So why do so many of us choose intensity over consistency?
It's exciting,
Mhm.
right? I mean, it's those endorphins, right? They come rushing with that when you're doing a high intensity workout like that. Relief afterward it's kind of a great feeling, right? So I think, and even in our culture, everything's big, it's fast, it's quick. Um, and I just think it's just the way our brains are probably wired. But it is not the big grandiose things that we do. It's just those little daily habits that are the ones that compound.
Mhm. What is living in survival mode, and what do you mean by that when you're saying living in survival mode?
I think you're just always striving, right? Always racing, being super busy, being always that endless to-do list that never seems to ever get smaller, just
Mhm.
longer. And I think a lot of women, especially if they're mothers or going after careers,
Yep.
I think it's just chasing,
Yeah.
whether it's trying to be in better health, be a smaller size,
Mhm.
chasing a career or showing up for your family. that's the part where I think it can get really challenging to not be in survival mode.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm a new client and I'm coming to you, I'm going to kind of get into the routine a little bit of your workouts. So what would I kind of expect if I'm a brand new client and we're meeting for the first time? Where are we going to go from the start?
I mean, usually the first time is getting to know each other, making sure that we're the right fit. I'm not for everybody, and that's totally okay. That's why there is plenty of different people to choose from. So it's usually just sitting down, getting to know someone's lifestyle, what it looks like for them. And then we usually go into an assessment, seeing what they're capable of. Are there any limitations? We check the shoulders, the hips, all the basic movement patterns of squat, hinging, pushing, pulling. And we see where obstacles may lie for us, challenges, and then we get to move forward from there. So the first time is really just that introduction, getting to know everything, getting acquainted with the space. And then from there, we can kind of work on whatever their goals are a little bit more once we build that strong foundation of the movements of the push, the pull, the hinge, the squat, lunges, things like that.
What do you think? So you work with a lot of different clients. What is a common, when somebody comes to you for the first time, what's a common goal that they have? Is it more for looks? Is it more for insight? Is it mental health? What do you think is the most popular reason people come to you?
It used to be for looks. I am noticing quite a shift that when women are entering perimenopause or menopause, now, fortunately, I love the conversations that we're having of strength training, protein, the importance of building strong muscles to have strong bones. And so now I hear a lot of women wanting to be stronger.
Yep.
So that's really fun. Mental health is a big one, I think, as well. Of course, most women would love to lose a few pounds. So
Yeah.
that can happen. But that's not usually the primary focus that I like to take on with clients.
Yeah. One of the things, and I don't know the answer to this, but weight loss and strength training. I mean, you can lose a lot of weight with it, and that's not something I guess for years I just thought, if to lose weight you got to run,
Yes.
and which
Right.
obviously works. But I think in the last maybe 5 years or so, it's really come out that people lose a lot of weight just by strength training, and then also the longevity of having muscle. I've seen new studies come out that says one of the number one indicators of living long is how much muscle you have on your body.
Right. Yeah.
Which I
It's
would
really cool.
exactly.
Like, okay, let's build some more.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, for the most part, everybody wants to build muscle.
Yeah.
hmm Maybe not for looks, but maybe for longevity, mental health, all that type of stuff. So I've definitely seen a difference in the fitness community in the past 5 years, maybe even 10 years of it becoming more of a priority.
Yeah, it's exciting.
All right. So let's switch over to sauna use.
Okay.
So my
I
favorite
like
topic.
I figured.
Yep. How is sauna use kind of different from like your normal routine, your muscle building and your strength training? I guess it's probably more you for recovery, I would
Yeah.
say. Mhm.
It is more for recovery now. When I first started to use the sauna, it was a little bit more for the nervous system regulation, learning how to breathe when you're uncomfortable,
Yes.
how to sit and
Mhm.
be quiet and be still. So that's where sauna really first came in for me, was more of the nervous system regulation. But now I've been slowly using it more purposefully for recovery, and it's
Yeah.
been really helpful.
I'm glad you said that because when I first started using a sauna and I was getting into it over a decade ago, my first couple goals for probably my first 6 months is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to try to not move anything. I'm literally going to be as still as possible. I'm going to focus on every single breath and I'm going to have consistent breath and just, I wouldn't even want to move my eyeballs.
Ooh.
And it was intense. And where it came from is from Bikram yoga that's like,
Yeah.
that was part of the thing is you do the postures, you don't move, you don't scratch, you don't wipe sweat off your body. So and it really, I mean, it was really good for mental training, mental health, mental strength, focus, breathing, and there's so many benefits that come along with that. And now every sauna session, I'm not doing that. I do it once in a while, but I don't need to do it as much these days. So I'm glad you said that, and it's a good reminder for people to try that.
Yeah.
So why do you tell your clients to use a sauna?
I think to sit,
Mhm.
because once you're in there, you can't switch over your laundry.
Yep.
You don't have all these things pulling at your attention because your purpose is to just be in there. So for me, it is more about sitting, be quiet, sit with your thoughts.
Yeah. What do you ever get pushback of like, I don't know. I don't know if I can handle the heat.
Yeah, a lot. I would have to say people are pretty, a little bit, maybe fearful is the right word. I think they just don't know. They're uncertain of what that's going to feel like. But it is just one of those things, like, you can leave at any time. You're just building that self-trust with your body to figure that out, what that looks like for you.
Mhm. So, do you have a lot of clients that use the sauna?
Yes, that is one of the really wonderful features about
Mm.
Strength Sanctuary, is that if they are a client of mine, they get to kind of use that and have an introduction to that room. So it is really accessible to them, and they've been really enjoying that. So it's been fun.
Do you ever use it with them, or is it kind of separately?
Separately, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess I would love to jump in any one session. I'll take it where I could get it for sure.
Yeah. Is there certain benefits you've seen some of your clients get from the sauna?
I think it is just more of that relaxation, that focusing on their breath, probably building a little bit of resilience, I think,
Yeah.
in there. And then that transfers also out into the world. That seems to be the majority of what my clients are doing and using it for.
Yeah. So, how often do you use the sauna?
I try like 3 times a week is what I
Mhm.
try to go for.
Yeah.
I would love to do it more.
Yeah. And I would say for you, thinking back from before you started to use the sauna to now, when you using it or at 3 times a day or 3 times a week, what would you say is the top thing that's happened to your mind or your body because of the sauna?
I think I'm a lot more calm. Like, I'm someone who runs like pretty hot. And
Yeah.
so, well, no pun intended, but learning just to sit and, like, manage your heart rate, check in with yourself, see how your body's feeling, and just be connected in that deeper way has allowed me to operate in the world a little bit less chaotic, I
Yeah.
guess.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a ton of health benefits that come with sauna use. I mean, heart health, it
Yes.
vasodilates the blood vessels
Yes.
and increases blood distribution throughout our body, and it helps condition our heart to be a more effective pump. And before I started using a sauna, my resting heart rate was in the high 80s. I was borderline
Okay.
hypertension. And once I started using a sauna on a regular basis, my resting heart rate dropped down to the low 50s. My blood pressure is absolutely perfect now. And I'm not Lance Armstrong. I'm not running triathlons. So the only thing I can equate it to is I use my sauna every day.
Yes. That's funny that you say that,
Mm.
because I trained for a high rocks competition, and it was a lot of training, and I kind of overdid it. So my resting heart rate started to creep up. My HRV was really tanking, and I've been recently using the sauna a little bit more often to kind of help with those things.
Yeah,
And I have been seeing the feedback that way. So that's been really
that's
exciting.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. What temperature do you like to set it to when you're in there?
That will depend on, so I will keep track of my HRV.
Mhm.
And so depending on where that is, we'll choose how hot.
Okay.
I like to go, if I can go up to that 160, I will definitely push it. I love a good sweat. But like 135 is dreamy.
Yeah. Yep. How long do you stay in there usually?
135 I can do close to the hour, right?
Mhm.
But there's also a cold plunge, so I'll get out
Yep.
and I'll try to plunge maybe 2 times for 3 minutes each and then go back in. So maybe there's like 25 minutes
Yeah.
in there, 3 minutes in the cold plunge.
Mm-hmm. Do you like using it in the winter better?
Yeah. Yes. The
Especially-
cold plunge or the sauna, all of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sauna. Yeah.
The sauna is great in the winter.
Mhm.
I definitely struggle keeping it a regular habit in the summer
Yeah.
because it already is so warm. But
Yeah. I love it. When I first started using it, I was hesitant to use it in the summer, and then I realized, well, take a cold shower afterwards or use the cold plunge,
Yes.
and it stops you from sweating. And now you get benefits from the cold shock as well.
yes,
And so that's been my routine for almost 10 years.
that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are really perfectly paired together. But in winter,
Mm-hmm.
it is just so nice to sit in there sometimes.
Yep.
Now I use it more as a recovery tool,
Yeah.
the sauna. So that has been fun to play with that modality versus just like the breath work.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations for like recovery?
So a
For
lot
more
of
athletes?
I get a lot of questions about should I use it before or after a workout.
Yeah.
So what I usually recommend is, well, definitely after, as far as muscle recovery and joint recovery and stuff like that. But it is nice to get in there for maybe 10, 15 minutes before a workout and then increase our heart rate a little bit. So
Yeah.
we kind of vasodilate those blood vessels and help have a little bit more effective workout. But then I always use it after a workout because of the muscles and the
Yeah.
joints and the recovery. And it does increase our IGF-1 hormone. So we do have a little bit, it helps with muscle mass, muscle tissue tone, stuff like that. So
Interesting. Do you use it after?
yeah, after exercising, like lifting weight specifically.
I always love those little like tidbits. Because if you're telling me I can get like an extra little benefit for doing something like
Yeah.
that, I'll totally do that.
There was a woman bodybuilder that just purchased one in Michigan, and she's just using it for muscle gains. She's like, I can get a sauna, even though it's not infrared. I work out at Lifetime Fitness, she said, and she's like, I can get a sweat there. I need this to get muscle gains for my performance on stage. And so that's why she got the sauna.
Was she keeping track of that? Like, I would
just
love
got
to
it.
see if it's visible.
Yeah, I'll
right?
have to check in with her in a couple months.
That's
So-
the stuff that I just think is fun, how you can use some of this as your own data to create your own health blueprint. Take what works for you, leave what doesn't. But that is really cool. I like
Mhm.
that.
Another thing is skin health. I mean, it's just phenomenal for our skin. So I used to work concrete for my dad, and I had very dirty, dry elbows. My feet were very dry and cracked. Once I started sweating on a regular basis, that all went away.
So
Yeah.
interesting.
And now my skin is very soft, smooth, healthy. I don't use any coconut oil. I don't use any lotion. The only thing I do is I sweat buckets every day of my life.
Do you always use the red light too? Or
Yeah.
does it matter which light? Do you have a preference on which light?
Well, I'm using it in the morning, so I like red. But so a lot of people at night will use violet, help for relax you. Depression, anxiety, people use yellow, stuff like that. So
So interesting. I know all of that is so interesting. I always stick with just the red light, but
Mhm.
I probably need
Most
to switch
people
it up.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Katie at Strength Sanctuary, one of the owners, she went and had a facial, and the girl was like, "What are you doing?" And she swears that it's the red light
Oh, right.
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Probably the sweating. Yeah.
It's both. So there's a ton of benefits to it. Also, just muscles and joints for pain relief. A lot of people, they have bad backs, their knees are hurting. The heat helps with that. But it also stimulates our natural pain relieving hormones to give us a natural pain relief. And then reducing inflammation is huge for pain
Yeah.
relief, but also reducing our risk for inflammation-caused diseases as well.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Even when I feel like a little sick, and it's like, this is where I'm going every
Mhm.
day.
Yep.
And you just feel so much better.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on,
Thank you
Ashley.
so
I
much for
appreciate
having
it.
me. This was fun.
Mm-hmm. If I'm interested, I have questions, or I want to reach out to you, how do I do that?
Right now, the best way to reach out to me is through Instagram. My She Strives is my Instagram that you can easily send me a DM right over on there. I am currently rebranding, so there will be a nice new website at some
Oh,
point.
nice.
But Instagram is the place for sure to slide right on it.
Yep. And I recommend everybody follow her. She's got really good content, really good tips. And if you're in the Milwaukee area, you're having a class coming up. Is that right?
Yeah, it is at Ascend Fitness in Shorewood, and it is a Learn to Lift strength workshop. So if you are a little bit intimidated, want to start going to group fitness or things like that, it's a great way just to learn how to navigate the gym and feel a little bit more comfortable.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Yep. So if you're looking for a infrared sauna, check out Good Health Saunas. We got the fastest heat up times, the hottest temperatures, the thickest lumber. Everything's third-party tested for safety, and we've been in business for almost 24 years, and every sauna that you purchase from us comes with a lifetime warranty. So that's it for this episode of the Sweat Fanatic Podcast, and until next time, get out there and sweat.